I'm Chris McDonough, a retired homicide detective. I've interviewed thousands of people, from serial killers to ministers. Welcome to the interview room. Hey everybody, aloha, and welcome to the interview room. I'm grateful that you're here. This was kind of a spontaneous situation tonight, based on obviously the indictment that presented itself today in the Daybell case, and this was not planned to clash with Miss Linda over there. This was a situation that I did not know she was going to run up live. So I've already asked her forgiveness in an email. When I put the thumbnail up, I did not know that she was already planning on doing something. But anyway, hopefully, the good news is I've invited her to come over here when she wraps up over there. Okay, so I want to talk about a couple of things. I want to give a shout out to everybody joining us here this evening from hopefully. I know Australia's in the house, Hawaii's in the house. Aloha to everybody, our mods, Crystal and Miss Sophia and Mimi. It's great to have everybody here, Maui girl. And one of the things I want to approach the indictment here is a couple of things that caught my eye almost immediately. And it's going to be kind of an open conversation because I think there's going to be more to come. And what I mean by that is we're going to break this indictment down, and then I'm going to measure off what some of the legal mumbo jumbo means in terms of getting a homicide conviction. And so we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about malice aforethought. We're going to talk about ballistics and some of the overt acts that Lori and Chad demonstrated. And of course, Alex, based on reading this indictment here, I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that's been following this case from day one that Alex is our problem child here. And so what the prosecution has done is they've put a little tight bow around our aloha couple, I'll call them. Ukulele man. I saw somebody measured in or weighed in with ukulele man. I kind of like that one. But what they've done is they've tied them up into behavioral type of situations, but not necessarily behavior, but overt acts. So things that kind of tie them into Alex, which is an interesting play because one of the key words that we're gonna check out here is others. The word others and others. So what they're doing is they're tying them through a conspiracy theory, a conspiracy to commit murder. It's predicated upon a religion, a thought process in religion. And then, of course, how does that play out in who did what and why? And so what I'm going to do is, first of all, let's talk as I go along here. You know how that we operate here on the interview room. If this is your first time here, I'm the kind of guy that says if you've got questions, put them up, and we'll discuss them as a group. I think we have the best, not only the best mods. I think we have one of the best communities on YouTube right now because I'm pretty sure that the folks that show up here don't want the drama and all the other mumbo jumbo that some of the trolls bring. My direction always to our group is if you're here to troll, then you're gone. Have a great day, because I'm here for these children, as well as for the victims of these families, and to bring some common sense and not speculation into the environment. So that said, I think, first of all, I want to take a big picture here, right? And the big picture always is, every one of us, who's been following this case has recognized from the get-go that this is probably one of the most horrific, child homicide cases, quite frankly, in modern time within this country. I mean, I think, the fact that there's some evidence of, some brutal, brutality here. It's just beyond comprehension. And, kudos to everybody, who's been following this case. I think everybody has been treating, the dignity of the memory of these children with unbelievable respect. And for that, I commend you. And I'm grateful that you're part of our community here. So Dillan, let's go ahead. First thing I want to do is kind of go over just a couple of the paragraphs in the indictment, and then we'll break it down. We'll have an open discussion here. So Dillan, let's full screen the indictment as a whole. If you have not seen this today, other folks have weighed in on it. But I want to, approach this if this was my caper and I submitted this to the district attorney's office. And so what I want to do is take a look at how they drafted this indictment and how it measures against, the laws and the state laws within the state of Idaho. So let's move up, Dill, if you can. Okay, so, yep, keep going. Okay, so let's stop right there. Whoops, go down. Okay, indictment 1. Okay, so obviously this is from a grand jury, right? So the indictment, the evidence was presented to a grand jury, and these are some of the charges that the grand jury came out with. So let's roll it up, Dill. Okay, so indictment 1, count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception, a felony. Okay, and so in here the DA has charged 3. The defendants, Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, and Alex Cox. And here's the interesting catch-all. And other co-conspirators, both known and unknown. So when I first read that, the first question that came to me, or the first thought process that came to me, is this is still an open, active investigation. Okay? Because they would not put that phrasing in this indictment unless there's additional evidence and or other situations that they're looking at. Okay, and then of course we've got the time of the time frame of the crime, and as part of a continuing criminal transaction and common schemes on plan in Madison and Fremont counties. You see those words there? As part of continuing criminal transaction. So this is an interesting first count presentation, because it tells us a couple of things. One, either they don't have all the evidence back yet from the lab, which we know they had some of it for the prelim, but there's also, it looks like, additional information that's going to be presented at some point. So what the DA is doing here is he's just laying out enough probable cause, and I heard that in the press conference today, just enough probable cause to put, to hook these two, put a set of matching bracelets on them, and put them in the clink. Okay? So he's basically saying here now that Idaho did willfully and knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree to commit murder in the first degree of Tylee Ryan and to commit grand theft by deception. So this is the first count against Tylee. Okay, so this is not against JJ right now. This is only about Tylee, and we're going to see what exactly that meant. So let's roll it up, Dill. Okay, so keep rolling. Okay, overt acts. Whoops, let's stop right there. Oh, yeah, go back to overt acts. Okay. Perfect, pal. Okay, right there. All right, in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree of Tylee Ryan and grand theft by deception. So we have two crimes that the DA is going after here, okay? The first one, first degree murder. Second one, grand theft by deception. And to effect the objects thereof, one or more of the following overt acts were committed by one or more of the subjects of the conspiracy as part of a continuing criminal transaction and common scheme or plan within Madison and Freeman counties or elsewhere in the state of Idaho. So what that legal mumbo jumbo is, essentially they're saying that, look, the state believes that these folks, these three folks, got together and they had a motive for getting together. And we believe, the state's saying, we believe that this was a common scheme or plan that these criminal transactions played into. So if you've ever watched Miss Linda over at It's a Crime, Dillan, can you blow that up to full screen? If you've ever watched Miss Linda over at It's a Crime, she's been unbelievably marvelous and fantastic about connecting, you know, the porta potties and all these other dots, okay? But I think where the state is going here is they are focusing on what I'm going to call a religious dilemma. Okay? And that religious dilemma, as others have, you know, eloquently pointed out, you know, point to this craziness within inside of this idea that they were putting together. And in overt act number one, remember, in order to have malice of forethought, okay, there are two kinds, okay, express malice and implied malice. Okay, so you need malice of forethought, or what commonly referred to as mens rea, or guilty mind. Okay, and it has to be either expressed or implied. Okay, so where the DA is going here in number one, he says, on or between October 26, 2018, or June 9th and June 9th, 2020, Chad and Lori did endorse and espouse religious beliefs for the purpose of encouraging and or justifying the homicide of Tylee Ryan. Now, what that means is, this is where all the visions and all the mumbo jumbo comes in here. You know, you know, they were zombies and all of the kookiness. Okay? Well, that's what he's doing in number one, overt act number one. So they're saying that Chad and Lori both agreed that it's kooky, but this target, i.e. Tylee, needs to be eliminated. Okay, and here's the reason why, based on a religious foundation. Okay, so that's the first overt act. Number two, on or about August 16, 2019, Lori Vallow did change the deposit of Tylee Ryan's Social Security benefits from Tylee Ryan's JP Morgan account. So basically, what the DA is doing here is saying, okay, number one overt act, they conspire to take her life because she's a zombie. Number two, Lori then goes and does an overt act, i.e. removes deposit or changes deposit of her Social Security benefit, and does this consciously, okay, knowing that this other purpose is already in motion. So you have the idea that says, okay, we're going to take them out because they're zombies. And now Lori goes and changes the bank accounts, okay, so that all of that money would be a benefit once Tylee is taken out, okay? So now we have number 3, on or about September 1st. Now, all they're trying to do is prove in these overt acts malice of forethought, i.e. consciousness, whether it's implied or expressed, that they're intending to commit a homicide, okay? Implied or expressed intentional commit of a homicide. So the DA has to lay out these overt acts that showed that expression of either implied or expressed. Number 3, Lori Vallow did move from Chandler, Arizona to Rexburg, Idaho, with Alex Cox, Tylee Ryan, and Josh Jackson Vallow, aka JJ. Okay, so now this number 3 act of moving, okay, intentionally showed that she was intending to take the lives of these children, and that she actively participated in the ultimate outcome of the lives of these children being taken. Now, why is that so important? Because in court, I think what we're going to see is Lori taking a position, and her defense will probably be, she wasn't there. Okay? It's all Chad and it's all Alex. Okay? So what's happened here now is the DA has tied her circumstantially by these overt acts into the ultimate demise of the children. Okay? And so that's what he or she is doing at the DA's office. Okay, so let's keep moving up, Dillan. Okay, indictment number 2, or actually 4, 5, and 6. I'm sorry, I missed that. On or about September 9th, Chad Daybell Googled SSW wind and visited a website entitled, "What is the definition of SSW wind direction?" Okay. Well, this ties into Tammy. Okay. And what did he do? Well, what he did was he was looking for wind direction, and he wanted to tie in a chart from Grendel ballistics. And what that means is you have to understand that, velocity, energy of a bullet traveling through, the air, what the Grendel ballistics chart does is it tells you distance, speed, energy of how that bullet will fall. Okay. So basically, the fact that he started to Google wind directions, wind speeds, okay, was showing consciousness, i.e. malice aforethought, that somebody was going to target, eventually, Tammy. Okay. Now, again, what Chad's defense can be is, I wasn't there. Okay. It's all Alex. Okay. But the fact that they went and they found that he was doing ballistics research, I'm going to submit to you that was all sent over to Alex. Okay. And so he participated in that conspiracy. Okay. In that conspiracy to kill his wife and then ultimately the children as well. So what we're seeing here is what the DA is doing is and I'll use an analogy of painting an interior wall of a house. What he's doing is he's putting blue paint on the wall, and he's saying, okay, here's the crime. The blue paint represents that crime. However, all these overt acts that each of these individuals did, okay, i.e., Here's wind direction, Chad. Here's Lori moving the children, moving the bank account, Lori. Okay, now you have two different colors. And now you have a third one over here, Alex, who probably pulled the trigger. Okay, so what he did was he said, ladies and gentlemen, look at the wall. There may be different color paint, pieces of paint up there, but they are all on the wall with a blue, over a blue background. And that is the conspiracy to commit homicide and the malice aforethought that was brought up. Thank you, Half Brother. Thanks, Chris. Happy heavenly birthday to JJ. I couldn't agree any more. And by the way, if you're new to our channel and you know you're just here, that's enough. Okay, we love having you here. Just subscribe to the channel. I know that there are some tough times out there. That's okay. Okay, Karen, Dillan, and I, and our mods in our community, we welcome you for being here. We welcome you, and we love that you're here. Just participate. Okay, everybody is welcome. It doesn't matter who, what, when, where, or why. Okay, let's go to the next one. Dillan, can you blow that up for me? Number 5, on or about Alex Cox did go to Pioneer Road. Okay, meaning he participated in helping moving the children. On or about September 9th, 2019, Lori Vallow failed to refuse to contact the Social Security SSA as required by law to inform the SSA of Tylee's death. So that's kind of a just a catch, right? They're throwing that at her just to make sure that there's no loose ends here. On or about September 25th and January 22nd, Lori Vallow did wrongfully continue to collect 5 months Social Security survivor benefits on behalf of Tylee Riley. So that again shows malice aforethought. Okay, that's how that's what they're doing there. They're tying her together and saying, look, who does that about their child, right? That's what the DA is going to argue come trial. They're going to say to the jury, at some point, folks, she knew exactly what happened. In fact, she even collected 5 months of Social Security to show it. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Count 2, first-degree murder. Okay, the defendant, Chad Daybell, and Lori Vallow, on or between the 8th and 9th of September, County of Madison, State of Idaho, and as part of a common scheme. Again, we go back to this common scheme, and now you have the DA also say, just in case, or plan, or continuing criminal transactions between Madison and Fremont counties in Idaho were concerned in the commission of a first-degree murder, meaning they had this whole thing in motion. It could be a plan, it could be a criminal plan, or it could just be a scheme to rip things off because of their kookiness, but it resulted in a first-degree murder, okay? And did aid and abet in its commission, or, and here's the big one folks, we don't want to miss, not being present. So what does the DA follow it up with? Advised and encouraged its commission. Again, this, you can bet the defense is grabbing this and not being present and is going to seize that and say, my gal wasn't there. Okay? My gal was, home at 9 o'clock at night worrying about her children. Okay. So what this indictment has done is it has tied them there, even though they were not there potentially. And because we know that Alex is there, his phone is pinging in the backyard. Okay. His phone is pinging in the backyard. We heard that in the prelim. So what they're doing here is just making sure they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's. I love this DA already. This is going to be a really interesting piece of defense that they're already breaking through in this particular indictment. So how do they write it up? Not being present, advised and encouraged its commission, or by command compelled another to commit the crime and did so with malice aforethought. That is the key. And did so willfully, deliberately, and with premeditation, i.e., it was express or implied consciousness of guilt. I want you, Alex, to kill the children. Well, Lori, why is that? Because they're zombies. Okay? And as you know, our religion does not like zombies, and the children have become zombies. Are you tracking me, Alex? Yes, Lori, I hear everything you're saying. And by the way, I want to make sure these children are dead. Premeditation, which resulted in the death of a human being. To wit, did either kill Tylee Ryan or assist in the killing of Tylee Ryan, and or did encourage the killing of Tylee Ryan, and or did command another to kill Tylee Ryan in violation of Idaho Code Section 4001. Okay, so let's hold on right there for a second. So Dillan, let's go to Idaho Code Section 18-4001. That's the other PDF that if you can pull it up, pal. Okay, is everybody tracking me so far on the indictment? Give me a 1 if you're tracking where we're going here, and if this is making sense. Okay. Yes, it looks pretty good. Yeah, Linda porta potties. I absolutely love that. She's amazing. She's hysterical. Okay, I mean, not that we're you know, that I'm not being humorous about any of this. I just love the fact that you know, Miss Linda has been on this for, you know, since day one. Okay, so let's look at the statute, i.e., why law enforcement gets to put matching bracelets on people such as this, you know, coming in from the Aloha State, which is an insult to Hawaii. Okay, murder defined. It is the unlawful killing of a human being, including but not limited to a human embryo or fetus, with malice aforethought, or the intentional application of torture to a human being which resulted in the death of a human being. Torture is the intentional infliction of extreme and prolonged pain with the intent to cause suffering. Now, I think it's really interesting that the DA picked this particular, you know, section of 184001. I would submit to you that we're going to hear some horrific problems about these children in the trial, and you know, God forbid, you know, that these folks, you know, have the sympathy of one juror, quite frankly. So let's roll it up, Dill. So roll it up here. Okay, 1802 is where I want to go. Okay, expressed and implied malice. Now, this is the important part. Now, remember, we just saw in the indictment, okay, that they threw the catch-all for Lori. She could have been there just in case she was there. Well, maybe she wasn't there. Okay, we're going to tie her in through her overt acts to show she knew everything that was taking place, i.e., so when the defense comes up and says, hey, my client wasn't there, and she's looking all, you know, spiffy in the courtroom, okay, the DA is going to be able to say, yeah, but let's talk about when she moved the children. Let's talk about when she and Chad moved the children together. Let's talk about the night Alex moved the children out of the room. And then let's talk about the time she got 5 months of Social Security that belonged to, you know, Tylee. Okay, so this is where 1802 or 18-4002 becomes critical to understand. Okay, such malice may be expressed or implied. It is expressed when there is manifested a deliberate, intentional, unlawfully to take away the life of a fellow creature. It is implied when no considerable provocation appears, i.e., Lori's at the house. So is it implied that she has malice to kill the children? Well, here's the catch. Or when the circumstances attending the killing show an abandoned and malignant heart. That's what they're going to nail her on. Okay? They're going to argue implied malice because she had an abandoned and malignant heart. Okay? Now, think about that. Okay? We saw live for almost a year these two individuals amplify that section of section 18-4002. Okay, and that is going to be a problem she's going to have to get over. Okay, malignant, abandoned and malignant heart. Attending the killing show an abandoned and malignant heart, i.e., they just didn't care. Okay, and that will be argued. Okay, that will be argued quite successfully. I would submit to you, to a jury, that a mother who abandons her children emotionally, mentally, physically, mentally, spiritually, socially, that is a abandonment and a malignant heart. And I'm seeing in some of the comments here, yeah, that's going to be the question. Does she have a heart? We know that it was playing out in Hawaii, but what does that mean? It's this secret life. Remember, we live three lives. Okay, we have the private life, the public life, and the secret life. She lives specifically within inside of that secret life. Okay, so now why is that important now? So Dillan, let's go back to the indictment now. Right? So now we know. Now we know what's going on in the DA in the indictment here. But let's go back to the other document, pal. And if you're just joining us, grateful to have you here. And we're talking about the indictment. We're talking about malice aforethought. We're talking about the ballistics that were brought up. Okay, so this is count 2. So roll it up one more. Yep, there you go. Thank you. Keep going. Keep going. Okay. Whoops. Let's go. Yeah. Okay. So count 3. Let's go up to where it says count 3. All right. So count 3 here: conspiracy to commit first-degree murder and grand theft by deception. Third count here: the defendants Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, Alex Cox, okay, and other co-conspirators. Okay, that is really interesting. That is really interesting. Okay, let's keep that. Let's put that over here on the board, guys, and let's pay attention to that one as we go down the line here. Okay, other co-conspiracies, both known, i.e., they know who they are, and unknown. So think about that. They probably don't have enough to pull them into the circle yet. Okay? But what they do have is they have their radar on some other folks, and they're paying attention to it. Okay? So pull that back up. Including Fremont as part of a continuing criminal transaction and common scheme. Okay, so now let's go up to the overt acts. Now watch this one. This one is really there's a nugget here that's kind of slipped under the radar. Okay, in furtherance of the conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree of J.J. Vallow and grand theft by deception, and to effect the objects thereof, one or more of the following overt acts were committed by one or more of the subjects of the conspiracy as part of the continuing criminal transaction and common scheme or plan within Madison and Fremont counties or elsewhere in the state of Idaho. So here's where they go. On or between October 26th and June 9th, Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow did endorse and teach religious beliefs for the purpose of justifying the homicide of J.J. Vallow. Okay, so what that says is these guys were Looney Tunes, okay, and they had a religious belief that justified homicide. Okay, that's overt act number one. They agreed together that homicide was necessary in some cases, is what they're saying, what he's saying. Number two, on or about September 1, Lori Vallow did move from Chandler, Arizona to Rexburg with Alex Cox, Tylee Ryan, and JJ. So what they're saying there is Lori made a conscious decision with Alex to take the children from Chandler, Arizona to Rexburg. Okay? Overt act number two. Remember, what they're trying to show here is malice aforethought, expressed or implied. On or about September 23rd, Alex did take possession of JJ. So now this particular count 3 is focusing in on Alex's behavior. Okay? So he took him, and we know what he did. He took him out of the apartment. Okay? But they added Chad and Lori because this is all part of the conspiracy still moving. Okay? So what they're saying here is Alex is part of this, and here's what he did. Okay? But by the way, they were also involved in what he did. Even though they may not necessarily have been there, they were involved in it. And this is where they go here. On or about November 26th, Lori Vallow provided a false and or misleading physical location of JJ to law enforcement during a lawful investigation, i.e., that is an overt act to show consciousness of guilt that Alex took the children. Okay? So therefore, one has to surmise, and a jury will be told, well, as a result of that, you're the mother. If you were the mother, why would you not want to assist law enforcement in helping your children? Well, that goes towards consciousness of guilt and an overt act of evil mind, basically mens rea. Okay, guilty conscience, evil mind. And then number 5, on or about September 23rd, Lori failed or refused to contact the SSA as required by law to inform, i.e., they're tying her back in. So really, this particular charge or this count is really about number 3 there. It's about Alex. Okay? And what they're doing there is they're tying those two together. They're tying those two together. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Go. Indictment number 4. Okay, then did wrongfully continue to collect 4 months? Yep, Social Security child care payment. Yeah. She's got a set of matching bracelets. Thank goodness. Okay, so now count 4. The defendant, Chad Daybell and Lori, on or between 22nd and 23rd of September in the county of Madison as part of a common scheme or plan or continual criminal transaction between Madison and Fremont counties in Idaho, was concerned in the commission of a first-degree murder and did aid and abet in its commission, or not being present, advise and encourage its commission. So this is a catch-all that says, look, if she's there, we got her. If she's not there, we've got her. Okay? Or by command compelled another, i.e. Alex, to commit the crime and did so with malice aforethought and did so willfully, deliberately, and premeditation, which resulted in the death of a human being, to wit, did either kill J.J. Vallow and or assist in the killing of J.J. Vallow, and or did encourage the killing of J.J. Vallow, and or did command another to kill J.J. Vallow in violation of Idaho Code Section 18-4001, which is basically homicide. So what they just did there was, if Alex is the bad guy in this whole thing, okay, then they just threw Lori into the bucket, whether or not she was there, by showing everything she did before, during, and after the commission of the crime, which shows malice aforethought. Okay, keep rolling, Dill. Count 5, conspiracy to commit. Okay. The defendant, Chad Daybell, Lori Vallow, and Alex, on or about October 1st to January 15th in the county of Fremont, state of Idaho, okay, did willfully and knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree to commit murder in the first degree of Tammy Daybell. Did combine or conspire to commit murder, and one of the following persons did an act to affect the object of the combination of that conspiracy. So this is the part where they're going to show the overt actions of what each of the players did, i.e. Chad and Lori. Because here they're saying that if Alex is the trigger man and he pulled the trigger, okay, then they've got to tie the actions of Alex to Lori and to Chad. Can a trial start while there's an ongoing investigation? Yes, it can still happen. Yep, absolutely. Okay, so let's go up, blow it up. Okay, roll it up, because this is interesting. One of the things in here, roll it up. Overt acts. Okay, that number 1's the same. Keep going up. Number 2's the same. Okay, stop right there. Whoops. Okay. Number 3. This is where they're tying these two together to Alex. Text messaging between Chad and Lori regarding death percentages for Tammy and JJ in messages dated July 30, 2019. Chad Daybell goes and buys a burner phone on September 18, 2019. Now, if you're not familiar what a burner phone is, okay, a burner phone is one of these throwaway phones that has a certain amount of minutes on it, okay? And you can buy them at Walmart, you can buy them, through various different sources, and then you can charge those minutes on those phones, okay? So that's what a burner phone is, okay? And that's what Chad bought, okay? And Alex Cox obtained a burner phone on October 9th, okay? So what they're saying is they're not saying if Chad gave Alex the burner phone. They're leaving it to the defense to prove that Alex had his own burner phone, and it's not the one Chad gave him, i.e. look at the dates, September 18th, and then Alex obtains a burner phone October 9th. So what they're tying together is they're forcing the defense to prove that Chad did not give a burner phone to Alex. Okay? That's going to be an interesting argument, because those burner phones are tough to trace. Okay? So the FBI knows through their CAST team, it's called the CAST team, C-A-S-T, and we saw those guys testify in the prelim. Okay? What the DA knows is, and this is a move by the DA, by the way, in my opinion, he's forcing the defense to have Chad prove that the phone he bought, which was the burner phone, is not the same one Alex obtained, and that was pinged by the fire pit in the backyard. So what the DA successfully is doing here, in my opinion, and masterfully, is putting Alex and Chad at the fire pit together. Okay? Brilliant. I love it. It's beautiful. And now he's tying Lori back together in text messaging number 6 between Chad and Lori about Tammy being in limbo, i.e., what's going on there, and Tammy being possessed by a spirit named Viola. This is where the religious conspiracy comes in, okay? Where the DA needs to tie all 3 of these together for a very interesting reason to take the children out and to take Tammy out, i.e., this kookiness of religion, the religion, aspect to this problem. Okay, and now we go number 7. Chad Daybell signed application along with Tammy Daybell to increase her life map insurance to the minimum allowed under her policy. Now that's a very interesting piece of the puzzle. So it sounds like they're trying to drive the money up, right? Thank you so much, Dre Latino. We're very grateful. And thank you for being here, everybody. So let's pull that back up, Dale, full screen. Okay. So we know that he gets Tammy to sign her life insurance to kick it up. Okay. But here's the one that is the kicker here. Alex Cox conducts multiple internet searches between the dates of October 8th and October 12th, including searches related to Grendel drop and shooting through a Dodge Dakota. So what that means is there is a chart. It's called Grendel ballistics chart. Snipers use it. Anybody who's ever been on a range that understands velocity, energy of bullets, and how they move. Military folks will understand this principle. They're taught at the rifle range. Law enforcement guys, we get this principle because of all the ballistics that we've dealt with. And what this chart does is it basically gives, and this is why it's key that they showed that Chad was Googling wind, SSW, okay, wind velocity. Okay, well, you've got Alex searching for ballistic velocity, energy, the drop of a round, i.e., when it goes through the, if you have a long target, okay, well, you've got those two talking, okay, about, here's a hypothetical. Hey, Alex, yeah. Hey, I just did a Google search on wind velocity south-southwest, SSW. That's that Google search that they tied in. Okay, hey, let me run that by the Grendel drop chart and see how that measures and see how far I can shoot without anybody seeing or maybe even hearing when that round went off, okay? Now, shooting through a Dodge Dakota means just that, shooting through a vehicle. Will the round, based on the velocity and the energy from a distance, i.e. the Grendel drop and the ballistics, the chart, will I have to shoot that round at a certain angle to get it to drop, and will it have enough velocity to penetrate into that vehicle? I would submit to you, they were waiting for her to get into the vehicle. And what they were doing is they were calculating out how much distance they would need for that round to penetrate through the glass and or the door frame. Because remember what they learned earlier in the other shooting. Okay, he missed them. Okay? They hit the Jeep and they hit the window. Okay, so and now you have Alex training. Alex going to the gun range, verse number 10, in the months before October, when the attempted shooting of Tammy Daybell takes place. Okay. So what they're saying here is, let's tie everybody together. You've got Alex going to the range, doing research on ballistics, i.e. wind velocities, energy, the Grendel ballistics chart. And if you get a chance, go look it up. It's GRENDEL ballistics, and then there's a chart, okay? And now you have Chad buying burner phones for potentially Alex, but they've left that up to the defense to prove if the phone that's pinged in the backyard that they know belongs to Alex is not the one that Chad potentially purchased for him. And now you have Lori moving the children, not reporting some of the, the Social Security aspects of, when the children were moved. Okay. So you also now have a force. You've moved the DA's hand, or excuse me, the defense's hand to say, hey, take a look at this. Yeah, I see, Mary, you don't want that in your search bar. Well, young lady, that's a good point, but that's okay. You'll be fine. Okay. Okay. So that's kind of the indictment for my take in a nutshell. So Dillan, let's go ahead and take some questions here, seeing what we've got. All right, is that making sense to everybody so far? Give me a 1 if it is. All right, looks like it's good. All right. Okay, so Dillan, let's take some questions here based on some of the information that we're learning tonight. Yeah, Barb, I would agree with you. This is definitely something that was definitely planned, and that premeditation is going to drop pretty quick. Do you think charges for Charles are coming soon? That I still believe that. Well, with Alex dead now, that's going to be something that they'll probably tie into Lori. But they're going to want to get this out of the way first, and then ship her back to Arizona, I think. So yes, that's still in the play. I would suspect that's still in the play, in my opinion. How involved is Melanie? So I know that she was on the, like Miss Linda said, she's on the zombie list. Okay, so. I think Melanie, they're going to have to use her as a witness, maybe a hostile witness. It could be that piece of the puzzle in the indictment where if she turns hostile, that language where it says "and others," could be in play there. I'm not sure of it yet, but I'm not going to say that's not a possibility yet without knowing all the circumstantial evidence they have about her. And knowing information based on their interviews with her. Yes, he would. Why isn't Lori charged for Charles? Yes, Alicia, great question. And that's where we go back to right now. They want to try her for the kids. So they typically behind the scenes is, a phone call that says, look, once we're done with her, you can have her for Charles. And so my guess is that's still in play. That's a possibility, still in play. Joe Kenda, he reminds me a lot. Yeah, I've heard of Joe. I was around when he was around. He was in Denver, and I was in the San Diego County area. So I was in Southern California, and he was in the middle. I knew John St. John, though. They called him Jigsaw. He was with 43 years with LAPD, and 40 of those years. He was in homicide. So actually 51 years with LAPD. He passed away, I think, in 1993 or 1994. Can burner phones be tracked via GPS cell towers, or is it all cell data? Burner phones can be tracked. There is a typical single subscriber that comes back, and yes, they will ping to those cell towers. Yep. How did they get away with shooting Charles? That's a great question, Mary. I think that's still under investigation by Chandler PD. And so, if they don't get her here, which I'm going out, on a bingo card for 100 that they're going to get her on this one, and that Chandler is going to be, a secondary plea deal. They'll tie the two of them together. Next, still, Joe Me. Can Brandon Arizona nail Gibbs in his case? Sounds like she was the go for them. Brandon is going to be a key witness here, because that is also that's going to come in as evidence. Now there's going to be some hearings about that. You can bet your biscuits on that the defense is going to want to suppress any of these pre-incident shootings. They want to keep up. They're going to try to keep them out. So just wait as we get close to trial. Don't be surprised if we see some pre-trial hearings where they're going to try to argue to allow Brandon to testify about his shooting. So we'll see. Do you think Chad and Lori participated in the actual murder? What does your gut tell you? I think Chad is in play here for the murder with Alex. I think Lori is in the background. I think Lori's in the background. Do you think Chad and Lori know about this by now? Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, they're reading it this evening, if not last night. Is anyone anticipate the Daybells to turn on each other? That's going to be a great move. Remember, they have husband and wife privilege, so they don't have to testify against each other. Okay. So, and now Alex is out of the play. So this is really going to be, and that's why I think this indictment is critical to understand some of the nuances in there about tying different pieces of the puzzle. The wind velocity, the searches by who, the move of the children, the Social Security benefits, and then of course all of those other pieces of the puzzle. The CAS team is going to be critical here. The cellular team from the FBI who testified in the prelim, we haven't seen the whole play there. Some of the tools are going to be critical. Some of the items that were recovered, i.e. how the children were brutally murdered. What was that green bucket in play? If you go back and look at one of the other videos that Mike and I did early on, there was a green bucket in one of the rooms. My feeling was that may have been one of the buckets that one of the children was put into, tragically. Thank you. So glad that you're back with your own channel. Thank you, Kiro. Grateful for that. Diane, is anyone anticipating for Diane? Yes. Okay, I just answered that. Sorry. Next question. Sherry, will they be charged together or separately? Well, this is an indictment for both. So they charged them together today. So we'll see. Is death sentence on the table? That's up to the Idaho. Don't be surprised if we see some maneuvering, right? I mean, who's the most, I guess in this situation, who's the worst culprit? The DA's got to make a choice. To me, they're both, good grief, right? They both, need to stand on their own. You know what would be interesting is to see two juries in the courtroom if they don't want to separate, and to have two juries in the courtroom. I had a trial when I was, in San Diego. We had three juries in the courtroom for three defendants, and the DA by the name of Mark Bettine handled that case, and that was the case. It was People versus Rebecca Jensen was the victim, and Mark Bettine took it to trial, and we had 45 jurors in the courtroom, and I sat at that table for like 2 months. It was crazy. Thank you, Kilroy Okamai. Thank you. Teresa, do you think Chad and Lori gave any thought into social media's YouTube involvement in this case? How could they live in this crazy bubble? That is a great question, Teresa. You would hope that somebody with, a conscience would definitely, try to be conscious of that in today's world. This is a dynamic that even tonight, as we sit here and share these thoughts together, this is a dynamic that I don't think these subjects or suspects are thinking through. Folks, we have changed the dynamic of how these criminals potentially could or could not get away with stuff. And so, this is good. This is a good thing. So hopefully they did, Teresa, but, I'm not going to hold my hat on that. What do you think? I don't, let me know how you think on that one. Hope, why would they need the wind readings? Great question. So the wind readings, i.e. The Grendel ballistics, are going to be critical to show distance, i.e. if somebody was going to shoot a gun, okay, they would have to show that the wind would move that round a certain distance. So the further away, the further that round will drop quicker, okay, and the wind could also move the trajectory of that round, because remember, a bullet is turning, okay, and it's spinning, okay, unless it's a 7.62. Those kind of rounds are tumbling, okay, they tumble, okay, because they're lighter at the top, and as they leave, the barrel and of the round, as they go through the air, they start losing velocity, and so what happens? The bullet starts to slow down, okay, and so as it's spinning and it's slowing down, then the wind can move that round. So what they were studying, what Chad and Alex were studying, is how much distance would you need before that round started to slow down, and would it be enough to penetrate through the side of a vehicle? Okay. So that's the reason for that, Hope. I hope that helped. Wow, three juries. Did the juries all stay independent, or did they affect each other? No, they stayed independent, and we had 45. Obviously with 3 alternatives, we have 45 jurors. 45 jurors. It was crazy, but we won, and they all went to jail, all 3 of them. So that was a good thing. Thank you, Sherry, for that super sticker. Grateful to have you here. Grateful to have you. Well, Albie, does your gut tell you there will be more victims and additional charges? I don't know about more victims. I think there may be more coming in charges down the road here. Remember, we said this about Alex. Hold on to your seats here with Charles. That one's not done. That potentially could bite Lori. And so, can these two get off with an insanity plea? No. And here's the reason why, in my opinion. The fact that we just saw evidence of conscious decisions. Okay? All of this evidence will come in against Chad. They're going to ask him, so why were you searching for wind velocity? Meaning, okay, you're not nuts, okay, and God's not telling you to search for wind velocity. Okay, the zombies aren't telling you to search for wind velocity. Okay? So now, are they going to play that as a potential card? Absolutely. I think the DA is going to get ahead of it quickly, and if they haven't already, have a bunch of forensic psychologists sit down with them, like Dr. Park Dietz or Dr. Larry Simons. These two are just experts in their field. Park's on the West Coast out there. Larry's in Florida. These guys are some of the greatest in the world and smartest in the world. And there are others. Okay, you can bet at some point if that card's going to be played, then the DA is going to get ahead of that and get these forensic psychologists to sit down with them and play it out. And then, of course, the defense will get theirs, and it will be a medicine show, as what we used to call it. Okay. Based on your experience, how do you think they thought they would get away with it? You know what? I think they thought if they could desecrate those bodies like they did, that this would be something that would have just kind of gone into a cold case file. And it would have, I think that's where they were up here, okay, going. Okay, if we can just buy time. Remember, a criminal's worst problem is time. Okay? They are always fighting against that problem. Okay? So what they were trying to do is prolong that clock as long as they can get it. Unfortunately, they did not anticipate, this great police work by these agencies to keep pushing that umbrella closer and closer. And quite frankly, the reporter up there who did an amazing job, calling out Lori, walking back to the airport. Do you know where the children are? Unbelievable. I was wondering about the gun. Does Ellie have it? I do not know. I do not know, CM. Great question, though. I don't have that answer. Maybe somebody else knows. Was the autopsy result, what were the autopsy results on Tammy Daybell? Cindy, I don't have that one either. Okay, I'm suspecting it's going to be some type of chemical and or poison, based on the fact that it looked like it was a heart attack problem back in the day. Okay. Do you think the defense is suppressing info being released before trial? They have had secret meetings with judge. Alex, I think so. Yeah, and I think we're starting to see the same maneuvering with our buddy in Colorado, okay, with Barry. Okay? They're trying to hold on to that arrest affidavit as long as they can keep it going up there. Okay? And you can bet this hearing, coming up tomorrow, is going to be a dog and pony show, all about bond hearing. My guy's not a threat. We need to have an argument about letting him out. And of course, the judge now, has taken, counsel or consideration into live streaming, which I think is a good thing. Let justice play itself out. And, we'll hear about it. We'll watch it on the WebEx, and then we'll talk about it. Okay. But I think it's a good thing for the system as a whole. Now, at some point, once that it goes to prelim, I think the judge is going to have a harder time, locking the cameras out of that. And then same with trial, because, now you've got to measure off, does the public have a right to know? And the answer is yes, the public does have a right to know. They can sit in the courtroom. Absolutely. Does law enforcement have the phone calls recording of Melanie Gibbon, FBI women? Yes. Blue one. Yep. Facebook one. Yep. Do you think they will check into the neighbor's mysterious death? Could be. That's a great one, Fuzzy. I don't know if they have the bandwidth for that right now, but I'm assuming they potentially could have already done that. It's a great question. Thank you for that question. What do you make of the subpoena by Mark Means? Yeah, right. To Miss Melanie, right? I think that is the first indication of that language in the indictment. And I think what they're trying to say here pretty quickly is, now is the time to keep going with the flow. And I think she will. I think she had an aha moment where she came out of the porta potty with everybody else, as Linda says, and has measured off, what exactly everything is, what everybody's up against here. Okay. Next question. Could I be charged? I just answered that. Yeah. I think anything's possible. Anything's possible right now. And again, I go back to that language, and others. Okay. Remember, they're talking about Lori, Chad, and Alex, and then the DA says, and others. Okay. Let's see who and others are. I'm not sure yet. What time on East Coast would the hearing be? I have to go look at the docket tonight. I'll text it out once I find out. Okay, Karen, thank you. Kristen, why hasn't Gibbon charged or needed immunity? She appears to be guilty or involved more and more. Well, great question. Maybe it's the old, you need a witness sometimes, right? And so maybe they're working something behind the scenes. I don't have all of those answers right now. 11 a.m. for Chad, 11:30 a.m. for Lori. Miss Sophia, thank you, Miss Sophia. Boy, do we have the greatest mods, or what? I love these. You women are the absolute most fantastic. I'm so grateful to have you. And I know my sweet Karen and I are just so blessed to have you as part of our channel. And folks, if you're not part of our channel, would you please consider subscribing and then sharing these videos out with your friends. We're in California right now. We're working with the Miliete family. Great things are happening there. As I have invited Larry a couple of times to come chat, I absolutely mean that. And there's some good stuff happening, though. That family at some point will get some peace as well. So let's see here. Do you think they will look into Tylee's dad's death? Yes, I think all of these boxes are being checked, Carrie. All of these boxes are being checked. Okay. So, okay. So that said, it's late. We love you guys. I know this was spontaneous, but let me tell you something while you're all here. Tomorrow night, I'm also doing another live. Okay. I promise you will not want to miss this. I promise. Okay. It's going to be pretty amazing. Okay. So be prepared for tomorrow night. Same time as 7 Central. We're going to hit it 5 o'clock on the Pacific coast, but I'll have the thumbnail up tomorrow, and because I want to hold it close to my chest, but you're not going to want to miss it. And I just want to say God bless. Today is obviously that little guy's birthday. It had been 9 today. Just this case, is just horrific. And I've laid low on this case on purpose. Obviously, there are enough folks out there that have a lot more information than I do on it. I just want to weigh in on situations like this. I certainly do love this YouTube community. Each and every one of you are just fantastic people. And it's just I'm just so grateful that you trust Karen, myself, and others out here to do the right thing. And I hope that you're finding, sincere value in what we're bringing to you, and that, you're learning something, and that you're also teaching us something as well. So, God bless each of you. Continue to be, nice to each other and kind to each other. As they always say in Hawaii, be akamai. And for those of you that don't know my background, I had some craziness. My parents were both in the Marine Corps. My dad and mom were both from Boston. My mother moved to New York. My dad went in the Marine Corps in 1944 to 1975. He's buried. Both of my parents are buried in Arlington. So we moved around the world. As a kid, I grew up in Hawaii, in Kailua. And I went to St. Anthony's School down there. So that's where I got the aloha spirit. And then my dad retired in Southern California, and we lived there pretty much, almost the rest of our lives. And now Karen and I have our 4th child. This is Mr. Dillan, who's in the back room. We're traveling the country in an Airstream. Made a promise to some families. I make a promise to each of you that we're just starting. We've only been at this 3 or 4 months now. But I'll tell you, we're going to these places. And don't be surprised if I show up in, Miss Lori's backyard. I'm not sure yet, but we've got to get Maya resolved here. And then I've got a commitment to Kelly and her family and Brent. And even though I haven't met her mom, I've made a commitment to help, that young lady's case as well. And then we're going to just kind of, see what other cases are available. Some interesting investigations that are kind of out there. I'm working a couple with the Cold Case Foundation right now, and we're making some great progress. I can't tell you, who they are or what they're about, but some of them are pretty brutal. But we've made a lot of progress. And if you haven't seen the Cold Case Foundation, it's down there in the link. Hit it. Go take a look at it. The name of the song at the end is called Hawaii. It's down in the link. Please consider subscribing again. God bless you all. Have a super great night, and we will see you tomorrow night. You're not going to want to miss it. Dillan, take us out.
Hard working every day, I'm stressed out 24/7, babe. No timeouts, wish we could fly away. You and I go to our favorite place. Oh yeah, make special memories together. I'll be your company now and forever. I say we fly away, you and me, go to our favorite place. Feeling the sun on my face in Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. With you, Hawaii. I need a summer